Hare Krishna. So one of the 8 themes that we are all working on and trying to cement into our hearts and our intelligence. Number 7 is, which is how will we fulfill Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's desire to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And before we begin, and don't put it up yet, I'd like you to just look at ISKCON from a particular point of view, maybe not so comfortable view. And I'm going to be asking you a question in a moment, and you can just hold the answer, your personal answer to that question in your mind. And then when we begin our presentation, you'll get a feeling for how we're feeling, what we feel is the issue, the answer to that question. Okay? We'll see how just well connected we are. So that question is, when we look at all of ISKCON, we see all the activities of the devotees, the building of temples, distribution of books, etc. What aspect of everything that we are doing are you embarrassed about? Is there anything going on in ISKCON, especially as it relates to the portrayal of ISKCON to the publics that we wish to serve? Is there anything that embarrasses you? There's one particular aspect of ISKCON that embarrasses me and embarrasses my colleague Pancharatna Prabhu. So we wish to speak to you about that and with some ideas on what we can do about it. So Pancharatna Prabhu, you want to go to that side? Okay. And that is ISKCON, the state of the internet. Go ahead.
You've already heard this particular quotation already once today. And we're just pointing out, we can use everything, television, radio, movies, or whatever. We know that Srila Prabhupada was eager to use all forms of communication. At one point he said, if you can arrange for me to be on television, I'll stop traveling the world. I'll just sit down and preach. So what is today's medium that reaches everywhere?
Also, Bhaktivinoda Maharaj utilized this quote of Srila Prabhupada. It is a core marketing instruction from His Divine Grace. And at the same time, what we're going to do is emphasize a little bit different aspect of it. Personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous acharya. He must have full confidence in the previous acharya. And at the same time, he must realize the subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstance in a suitable manner. Frankly, we are not presenting Krishna consciousness on the internet in a suitable manner. Full stop. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it yet. It should be presented in an interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. And then he finishes. This is realization. And by this measure, I would like to suggest that we, as a large worldwide group of devotees, don't have this particular realization sufficient to make this internet worthwhile.
Here's some evidence. Now, if you were to do a Google search, you might get a different result because Google knows you. and they'll show you what you're looking for. But if you do a Google search without your personalization and look for something that you might expect to find ISKCON present, so like for example, Bhagavad Gita, you think you would find ISKCON? I mean, we do distribute how many millions of Bhagavad Gitas? But you do a search on the Gita, no, Krishna.com, no, ISKCON.org. We won't even talk about HariKrishna.com. Even Kirtan, Bhakti, the only place we're there on the first page is Krishna. Yes, that's very nice. How many people are naturally searching, outside of India, searching for Krishna? Just as an example, so here's the page, Bhagavad Gita. This is the first page. The first time, of course, you've got Wikipedia up there. Wiki is everywhere. And then
but let me jump in on Wikipedia. Wikipedia has 11 pages on the Bhagavad Gita. It is the fourth most trafficked site in the entire world, meaning only 3 sites do people go to more than Wikipedia. And out of those 11 pages of discussion of Bhagavad Gita, there are only 3 lines that relate to His divine grace and the Bhagavad Gita as it is.
You have 2 books here. Translations by, who's that? Eknath, some guy. Anyway, Stephen something. Ours is not there. Then you've got the first site dedicated to Bhagavad Gita. You could look at it. This is put together by the Devananda Gaudiya Mutt. And then you've got a summary of the Bhagavad Gita by a devotee who's not now connected with ISKCON, but does a lot of traffic. Yes, okay, you want to buy it, we're here. But if you want to learn it online, we're not here.
Actually, this is a misnomer. Here you have this gentleman who's trying to hit the target and he's missing. In fact, we don't even have the bow in our hand. We're not able to even shoot an arrow yet. Up here, Jehovah's Witnesses. You may think, oh, worldwide religion. They only have 8 million people. It's not that much bigger than we are.
This is the popularity of websites in the world.
There are only 763 websites out of the billion websites that are on the internet that have more traffic than the Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay? 764 is their ranking. And that means that there are only 763 websites out of the 1 billion websites on the internet that get more traffic than the Jehovah's Witnesses. A rather, I don't want to call them offbeat, but they're a little bit offbeat, Christian denomination, not prominent, 8 million members. But why are they so strong? Why? Because they've devoted tons and tons of energy to the internet. The Mormons. You may think they're a huge religion. They have only 15 million members. They're ranked at 1668. Here we have a couple of very strong evangelical Christians. Very strong rankings. A magazine on yoga, the Yoga Journal, is 25,000 ranking. Art of Living, which more or less came out of nowhere 10 years ago. Maybe they were established earlier. But, you know, whoever heard of 10, 15 years ago, did anybody ever hear of Art of Living? They're at 41,000, and that's a very good ranking. Krishna.com, the absolute best website we have, 142,000. Krishna.org, 308,000, and harikrishna.com, ISKCON.org, I'm sorry, and harikrishna.com, and what are we? Are we the Hare Krishna people? 1,300,000 is the ranking. Basically, it's obscure and never seen, right? A ranking such as Yoga Journal is receiving about 175,000 people per month. By the time you get down to Krishna.com, you're looking at about 100,000 people a month. And most of them are devotees, let's face it. Most of them are devotees.
And from India.
And from India, yeah. Probably 1,000 people a month. Obscure. Go ahead. We got
the challenge. Okay, we just saw. We are not visible when people look for Krishna. Well, they may find us looking for Krishna, but the things that we promote, we're not there.
We're definitely not relatable or relevant. Okay, here we have a picture of Giriraj. I'm going to pretend for a moment that I'm just a person that doesn't know much or anything about Krishna consciousness. Oh, we like to decorate stones. Interesting. What kind of people are these? They like stones. Or if there was a picture of their lordships, maybe these people are a doll factory.
And we put them behind bars down here also.
Yes, we put them behind bars, also very important. Or we have a video of this empty temple, because we want on the front page for the hour or two when something is going on, but then the rest of the day it's blank. And honestly, I went to a page one time and I was looking, there was nobody in the temple. Then all of a sudden, some nice devotee comes, offers his obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, turns around and starts to pick his nose and walks out. I mean, I'm serious.
What can I say about this? There are so many of our websites that are just unattractive. They haven't been changed in eons in internet time.
We don't have a consistent brand. You look at this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, you do not think that they're from the same organization.
We don't even have the same names. Some are, Temple this, or ISKCON is sometimes there, sometimes not there.
Prabhupada is sometimes there, sometimes not. What is a CTA? How many people? Raise your hand if you know what a CTA is. Okay, now seriously, this is a very serious issue when we are going to be talking about the month, what we need to do differently. I believe that only 3 people in this audience out of roughly 750 people knew what a CTA is. That means that we don't know much about the internet. CTA means call to action. Call to action. Yesterday we were spending some time on the Mormon website. Boom. Comes right up as soon as you get there. You want to talk to somebody? Click here. They'll have a live person that you can speak to immediately. Go a little bit further down the site. All of a sudden, hey, join our newsletter. These are call to actions, right? We don't hardly have any of them. Go ahead.
Which means we're getting left behind. People are looking, and we're way back in the back of the pack.
A lot of missed opportunities. A lot. No.
I've been looking at this site for probably from the first time I even looked for Krishna consciousness on the web, got a little interested. I saw HareKrishna.com, okay. But that was 20 years ago and it hasn't changed. Look at it. Our HareKrishna.com page looks like this. No wonder it's 1.3 million in ranking. And if you look deeper, you'll see that you looked at what's its rank in the U.S. It doesn't even exist in the U.S. It only has something because some people in Australia or some other countries have a kick looking at HareKrishna.com or something. And it's a valuable URL, Hare Krishna. But this is what we have. What we could have. This is an organization called Global Media Outreach. They spend $10 million a year on the internet. And this is what happens. This is their dashboard. Every day you can go on here and watch, and you see, okay, what is today? Visits to their sites. They have maybe 10, 15 different sites that they use to attract people. 95,000 people visited that day. Of those people, 15,000 did something. They responded to the call to action. And simultaneously, they had 38,000 people, volunteers, who were interacting with those people.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a future where 15,000 people a day, that's an astronomical number when you move it out to a year's time. Somebody do the math. 365 times 15,000. Over 5 million. Imagine 5 million people reaching out to us. We're kind of like talking on one hand, the current situation, which is extraordinarily negative. We're going to start shifting pretty soon. We're not done yet with the negativity. But pretty soon we're going to start talking about the positive potentials. They are huge. Huge. Our future forward. This is not, we are not using language here that suggests what we could do. We're not interested in what we would do. This isn't what we might do. This is what we must do. So,
what is reaching every town and village already? The internet. The vehicle is there. It's ready to carry Mahaprabhu's message. It's ready to carry the holy name. We have to push it on.
we have to come up with, we will come up with, just widespread appealing content. Content is king on the internet. It is a question of just taking the beauty of Krishna consciousness and framing it in a way that a person can appreciate it. This is not some rocket science.
And this content is not just being pushed out on our own websites. It's getting pushed out on many, many places. It's getting marketed. And not only things that we write, but our voice, our message is going out in comments, in other people's blogs. And this message is one. It's not all spread out all over the place with confusion, but we are having a unified message going out to the world.
And the beauty of the internet is that when you put something out, you're able, just through the analytics, to be able to tell whether people are liking it or not. Almost instantaneously. Certainly within a matter of days. you can figure out, this message is resonating, this message is not. And by constantly circulating and trying new things that bring more and more people, that capture more and more attention, quite quickly you end up with the unified messaging that works the best. As Bhaktivinoda Maharaj was saying, there's this innovative circle. All you do is put that innovative circle into place, and we start gathering more and more people through a unified messaging.
Along with this, we have mined this great wealth on the Wikipedia, so that when people come, we've learned the art, because it's not just a matter of getting in there. There's a whole art to getting your information, what you want to put out on Wikipedia, because that's where people are coming, and they'll see our authoritative, authentic messages.
And we have to bring in the scholarly devotees, those devotees that write something of a scholarly quality, that then get that published. Because to get good rankings and good information on Wikipedia, you have to be sourcing it to published articles. So it is a question of just getting the scholarly devotees to write things that are specifically going to subsequently be used to fill Wikipedia with our knowledge. And we're not just talking about Wikipedia as it relates to ISKCON, or to Krishna, or to Hare Krishna. We will be the authority on every aspect of it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, why would we not be the authority? Of course we need to, etc.
And through these efforts, we will get to that place where when people look for the Gita, when people look for bhakti, when people look for kirtan, when people look for happiness, when people look for self-realization, when people look even for meditation, they'll find us.
Once again, a raise of hands. How many people know what Zimat it means? Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, Z-M-O-T. I'd like everyone here within the next 10 days. In fact, I'm gonna ask this in a negative. Who in this audience in the next 10 days does not want to go and search for Zimat and read that paper? Raise your hand if you don't want to do that. That means that everyone will do that.
Thank you.
It's actually one of the most important principles of the internet. It doesn't matter what the subject is, but we'll use the subject of ISKCON and we'll use the subject of Krishna. And what happens is, for virtually everyone, you hear something new and you go to the internet and look it up. And that's what you do. So that Zimat means the zero moment of truth. And what happens to us when people look it up is they're not seeing clarity and they're not seeing us. So this principle, once again, a critical principle that we have to understand what's going on in the world out there.
And when they found us, we don't leave them alone to just wander and be lost. They express some interest. We've got a call to action. When they respond to our call to action, we're there following up, using these tools that take away the distance between us and our audience, that we can be right there, right in their pocket.
And there's software, internet software, that upon using it, you never lose anybody. You never lose a soul. Once you've captured them, you'd never lose them. You're always in a place to be able to provide them some new information about Krishna consciousness. An organization like us should have millions upon millions of email addresses. We will do that. We'll have millions of people that we are regularly giving information about Krishna.
And bringing them to a place where they can learn in an easy way, in a self-paced way, in a style that is meaningful, in a method which is convenient on their phones, for example, with a complete path from knowing nothing about Krishna consciousness to, yes, I want to be a part of this great movement.
We can also then start to engage people in a community. The fact of the matter is most people are engaged in a community on the internet. Yes, they may have their own face-to-face community, but the fact of the matter is everyone is sitting in Facebook 2-3 hours a day. And the possibility of creating communities of Krishna conscious people or people that are just interested in aspects of our philosophy is distinct. So in the same way that we are going to create big amounts of email addresses, we're also going to create these communities of people throughout the world.
Which then leads to selling stuff. We're out there every day selling books. And people are out there every day, every moment, buying things online. But we don't sell much. First of all, we don't have a lot of products that people can buy online, that are convenient, that are digital, that are meaningful, that are relevant.
There's no question that we can sell more books on the internet than we are selling currently on the street. It's just a simple question of applying ourselves with the 5 principles that we'll soon discuss.
And it's not just the new people, the audiences that we've been talking about spreading Krishna consciousness to. It's also our own membership. Our members deserve a better service through the internet. There's so much that they can benefit from, but we don't have the mechanisms, the tools. They don't even know where to go or to find a lot of what they could be finding. Yes, there's a lot of good examples, ISKCON Desire Tree, etc., that are servicing our members, but they work only to a certain level. There's so much more that can be done to make our members feel that the internet is not just a time-wasting place, but is a place that can actually serve their progression in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, this is the continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is needed, especially in the internet, but it is needed across the board. Improvement is something that we consistently do every day of our life. So, what can we do? No. It's absolutely not the question. The question is not the question. It's what we must do. And it is what we will do. So we have 5 primary steps. Number 1 is develop knowledge. Number 2 is develop skills. Number 3 is to create a unified shared vision. Number 4 is to create a multi-level strategy, or strategies actually. And number 5 is to allocate resources. Let's just go through these briefly. You have a couple of very important, you might not think they're important, examples today. How many people know what a CTA is? How many people know what ZMOF is? If we go over here to the BBT, what you see is an entire group of people that understand publishing. They understand publishing terms. They know what those terms mean. They have knowledge of what it takes to print a book. Those skills actually are within the BBT, very old skills, because the devotees that started to publish originally Srila Prabhupada's books when he was still on this mortal planet with us, they learned these things. We have to develop skills. So it's not like, it's gyan. We have to have the skills or the applied knowledge. So we're going to have to gain that.
And we have to have a unified vision. We need to come together to say we're going to succeed on the internet, because it's only when we do come together, not in little pieces, disjointed with our own various efforts, that we can actually boost ourselves up. And we will each be energized by everyone else's work.
And our multi-level strategies include everyone. We start with a global internet strategy. That strategy then moves into regionality, because there are regional differences that are very, very important. And you see this all the time. I had we bought a number of things from Amazon and then had them delivered to our apartment before we came. Similar to Amazon in the U.S., but it had that Indian flavor. Okay, so regionality is important. Local is important. So we'll have local strategies, and lastly, personal strategies. Right now, the idea is, okay, we want to do something to spread Krishna consciousness. And the idea is we're going to get up and go somewhere. We're going to go find a book bag and go out there. Or we're going to go to a college course somewhere and lead a college course. We're going to do something, okay? But our future then includes, I want to preach, I'm going to just open up my computer. Because the preaching potentials of just looking at your screen and relating with people are huge. Huge. We've got to have devotees that get inspired. The internet is the most untapped, virgin territory of spreading Krishna consciousness. In the spreading of Krishna consciousness, from the very beginning, there was innovation, there was energy, there was excitement and enthusiasm. We have to apply that same enthusiasm to go out and share Krishna consciousness with other people through the internet that we have applied to other preaching efforts in the past. It really is simply a different media, that's all. And if we get inspired on it, we can actually revolutionize the preaching of Krishna consciousness. We've got to have funds. I of course very much appreciate the TOPP. I'm not knocking it. But we spend $90 million on a temple and we spend zero on the internet does not make sense from an organizational point of view. That doesn't mean we should spend less on the on the temple. It just means it makes no sense. As an organization, we have to gather ourselves together with devotees and with funds. And there's actually plenty of devotees that have some inspiration to do something, and different devotees are attempting to do things. But they need encouragement, and they need resource or funds. So basically, before we get into this, we've got five. We have to gain knowledge about this medium. We have to acquire the skill sets that are needed Without that skill set, we won't really make it. We must acquire a shared vision, a unified shared vision of what we can accomplish, which we will. We have to have strategies on the global, strategies on the regional, strategies on the local, and every devotee has to have some personal connecting point. Any preacher has to have a connecting point on the internet. And we must allocate devotees and funds. So, of course, I think I mentioned a couple of times, and I certainly mentioned every time that I've given my own little seminar, a few devotees can really start something that ends up being so much bigger than whoever they are. ISKCON Online is something that Pancharatna Prabhu and myself put up just to create that knowledge base. We haven't had a chance to get it translated yet, so it's only available in English. But actually, half of the knowledge that you would need is actually on the ISKCON Online site. Because what we have done is curated tons and tons of articles, over 350 articles on every essential element of knowledge that's needed. So contact us. What are our addresses?
Oh, as you said, start off, look at our website. You can sign up for our newsletters there. You can come to our booth also and sign up. And contacting us personally, Gopal Bhatta has his ISKCONonline.com address. Very simple, gopal.bhatta, and I have mine. And we're here, we're ready. We need to connect and chart our way forward with you.
Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.